Well, good evening, Facebook friends, and welcome to my life in 200 seconds or less. Once again, it's Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and I can't do it live. I'm having to record this and then put it on Facebook so you can see it. I'm standing in the streets of Shanghai. Cool evening. The wind is blowing, as you can see. And I think I'm going to take a little longer than 200 seconds tonight. It's just before Christmas, and I'm getting ready to leave to go back home to my family, spend time for Christmas with them. So I just want to leave just a couple of words. Last week I talked about Jesus and the fact that he did some incredible miracles, and he of course he gave us all those parables, and in those parables we learned something about ourselves if we discover who we really are. Because if we are in Christ and he is in us, then we see things through his eyes today, and we see those parables in a whole different light. But there's so much more to this new covenant that he makes with us, this new promise, this new life, this new way of living that he's given us that most of us don't even realize. You see, when he died on the cross, and he said it was finished, what was really finished was the old way. That way of the law, that way of all these regulations and all these things that make us do the things we do because we think we're trying to please God. No, in the book of Luke, in chapter 10, he said, he turns to the disciples and he said to the disciples, blessed are you, because you're going to see things that no other person has seen. You're going to hear things that no other people have seen. Because you see, when he spoke to people, he spoke to them in parables. But when he spoke to his disciples, he spoke directly to them. He told them things that nobody else would ever know. You see, when you think about what he did in the world and what he did with his disciples, he led them to understand that in him was all life, in him was all joy, in him was all love. And that when he died, he gave all that to those people who would believe in him. And so the story of his resurrection is really the beginning of our new covenant, this covenant of unity. We are united with him and he's with us, and we're united with each other. If we would just believe, if we would just know him and be with him, then we are united all in one. What a wonderful world that would be if we would just all be united in one. Every religion, every person, every belief, just united in him. And so if you turn in the Bible to the book of Revelation, you see something very strange. You see, everybody thinks this is some book about a revelation of a new, I don't know, end of the earth kind of speaking. In fact, it wasn't that way at all. This was the revelation of Jesus Christ. It tells you right at the beginning. It's his story. It's a story about how he was reconciling himself to us. Because we couldn't do it. He was reconciling himself to us. And if you open up in the third chapter of that book and you start to read, you're going to see that Jesus comes to a door, a closed door, and knocks on that door. And if we'll just hear his voice and open the door, he'll come in and eat with us. Yeah, that's right. A resurrected Christ who doesn't need to eat at all wants to be eating with you and I. And so he comes in, and when he comes in, he says he's going to sup with us. And we will then, now get this, we will then join him on his throne. You see, when we're in him and he's in us, we're going to see everything through his eyes. He's going to see everything through our eyes. And so when he sits on the throne, we'll be sitting right there with him. I know that will offend so many people to hear that. But we really are one with him. And so if you look further down in that book of Revelation in the story, you're going to see the point when all of a sudden John sees this vision, and this vision of someone standing at a throne with a scroll in their hand. And the words are saying, who can open the scroll? But no one was found worthy to open the scroll. But God was holding the scroll. How was he not worthy to open the scroll? And then it says that you looked, and when you looked, what you saw was the Lion of Judah that was able to open the scroll. And then suddenly the image changes, and no longer is that scroll in the hands of the Lion of Judah. You see the Lamb of Judah. Bah, Just a little lamb. And that was Jesus. Jesus the lamb is Jesus the lion. Yeah, he's both. And when you look, the door where he is open. Yes, the door to heaven is always open. The door to our hearts seems so often to be closed. If we would just open it up and ask for him to come in, then he comes in and sups with us, and we sit on the throne with him. I don't know how to make it any clearer than that. It's Christmas time. We remember the time of his resurrection. But don't think of it as just Resurrection Day, men and women and boys and girls. This is a day when Jesus brings the new covenant to us. When we're in him and he's in us. So I wish you Merry Christmas. From myself, my family, who's back in the United States. I'll be leaving to go there in just a couple of days to go home. Back to the cold. Well, it's not exactly warm here, but it's a lot warmer than it is in Rochester, New York. I've taken a lot longer than my 200 seconds this time, but I wanted to spend this time with you just to warm it. If you feel compelled in any way, why don't you share this little Christmas wish with others? Let them know that Jesus is in them and they are in him. If you just believe, he's there with you. Bye for now, and Merry Christmas.